This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah. All right. So first one we'll do the storage.
Okay. Jeez. Oh no. I was very zoomed in. Sorry.
All good.
One of these days.
Good.
Okay.
All right. All right. Here we're gonna go. We're gonna go in three, two. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Excalibur Roundtable Extended Tech Talk. I am Mike Fuson, and I'm joined today by Jesse Long from our partner Device42. Jesse, thank you for joining me again today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, we've talked about many different and wonderful things that Device42 is able to do. And one of the topics we wanted to share with folks today is storage discovery. You and I had a long chat about storage discovery and how sometimes it's overlooked. It's such a key element to what many organizations are leveraging, but being able to discover storage within their environment can become key. And I had shared a little tale with you of a customer that had leveraged Device42 as they were identifying all of their devices and found some network attached storage that was part of what we like to refer to as rogue IT. Another department had put a storage device in because their comment to the folks in IT was, well, it was a whole process to get more storage. And we talked a little bit about how that can have unintended consequences in that chances are they're duplicating data. We don't know which data or records or files are the most current, and most assuredly, it's probably not getting backed up because policies and structures and procedures put in place to deal with the storage that IT is managing. This is something that I have to imagine there's probably hundreds and hundreds of stories of a similar ilk that Device42 has heard from customers when all of a sudden you scan everything and lo and behold, here's some stuff we didn't know about that's sitting out there. But Device42 has some unique capabilities when it comes to managing storage. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so and to your point, usually we find out about these kind of rogue devices when something happens. So somebody's like, "Hey, this file was there, it's not there anymore. Can you go ahead and restore it?" What do you mean? Where was that stored at? So you kind of start to hear these stories through, uh, hey, that's not where it's supposed to be stored and whatnot. And what Device42 can do is we can actually go in and look at those mount points that are sitting, per device. So if are those rogue devices or those rogue mount points, we're able to kind of see those and see, hey, that's not going to our storage array, that's somewhere else. And so we can kind of start to figure out why. It's not a local, it's not, our storage array. What is that thing? So we can start to ask those questions before it becomes a problem. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of that. Hey, I don't want to ask for more storage, so I'm just going to make my own.
Yeah. Well, disk space is cheap, right?
Right.
And all too often, the folks don't understand that there's actually a lot more that goes into it than just the storage space itself. There's a lot of technology and other things that go on. But can you show us a little bit of some of the special stuff that Device42 does around storage?
So So essentially what we're able to do here and kind of take this from both approaches. So within Device42, we're able to look directly into a storage array and kind of tell you, um, you know, different storage arrays, which, regardless of vendor. And what we like to talk about is being vendor agnostic. So a lot of times you can go into a specific vendor and look at kind of the things that they want you to see. But Device42 takes all of that data and puts it into one place. So we can open up a storage array. Here's a NetApp and kind of see the properties of that device, the LUNs that are created, capacity information, exposed raw capacities, and other controller information, initiator groups, disks, aggregates, volumes. So we're able to take all of this information and we can get all the way into looking at a LUN and saying, okay, well, how's that performing? Even go into that LUN and look at connections and say, okay, well, here's a connection to this ESXi host. We can go into that and see the actual data stores that are being presented, and then within those data stores, we're able to look at VMs. So when you kind of couple all of that together, and you go to a device, we can actually see those mount points that are sitting, within that device. So we can see where they're living, whether it's, on a NetApp or other. We can see those things. And then, like you were saying before, those kind of rogue devices, we're able to see those mount points as well. So that's kind of how we couple all of that together. And then we can also get into trending and how that storage array is performing. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of it.
So much more than just identifying the device and identifying its attributes and details. We're able to pull a lot of great detail about the devices and all of the things that are set up within them, but then also look at where they're being mounted. And it's one of the things where you look at those dependencies from what IT is really looking at, and the things that Device42 is able to tell them about how things are structured. So as you want to move things around, or maybe you're bringing a new array in, you can get a very, very clear picture of, okay, which leg bone's connected to which knee bone and where, as it were.
Yeah, and another kind of use case that we see for storage is, a lot of times people, will pin it to, hey, this is important, so I'm going to put it on an SSD, or this is important, so I'm going to put, or it's not important, it's kind of archival stuff, so I'm going to put it on a spinning disk. Well, that's great, but you're using one technology, and what we can do with that vendor agnostic approach as well is say, hey, maybe you're looking at one storage vendor and you think this is, it's SSD and SSD is SSD. Well, every vendor does things a little bit different. So we're able to take that component out and say, hey, let's pin this to this vendor, see how it performs, kind of through a vendor agnostic view, and then let's pin it to this storage and see how it performs here. So you can actually kind of do a bake off between your storage arrays. And kind of say, hey, when we buy more gear, when we buy another shelf of storage, I want to make sure it's on vendor A instead of vendor B because it performs better there.
Yeah, depending on the circumstances, right? And you're capturing all that information. That's the key. Is all that information on all the vendors is in one place, not the vendor's tool telling you how it's performing. It's kind of a tool that doesn't care who the vendor is, telling you how it's performing. And again, in the brief overview we did, we saw, okay, how much storage is still available? Do we still have raw storage that's on there that's not been allocated yet? Things that sometimes get overlooked. Somebody's in a hurry, they're setting things up, and they're going, oh, we need more storage. Well, wait a minute, do we have any raw space still available somewhere that hasn't been spun up or allocated? Those are all real things, and as we're all kind of in now the after times, as I like to call it, the after we all experience COVID, we're all trying to be a little bit more better about looking at some of those details and ensuring we're leveraging things as well. For so many companies, budgets were tight. And just, used to be free for all. When we need more storage, just go buy more storage. Not that big of a deal. And now all of a sudden, maybe that's a bigger deal, and we just need to pay attention to what we're doing. But also, one of the things that we've talked about and done in presentations with the team at Device42 is this can also help with things like problem management and incident management, where an application is performing poorly. Well, you've got all of this data available in Device42 to tell you, okay, well, what are all the points at which could affect application performance? And then you're capturing performance. So wait a minute, our performance metric on this seems really, really bad. Well, okay, this is something that we need to look into. And we see it all the time. We've seen it with customers over and over where there's a disk problem or a hardware malfunction happening within their storage arrays, and they don't catch it till everything now goes down. We want to catch it before we have to restore from backup because maybe we can move it, right? It's one of the beauties of a lot of the technology we have today. It can be moved while running. or maybe it's replicated elsewhere. Or in other episodes we've talked about where clients in certain industries run hot data centers. Well, maybe they can flip it to the other data center and figure out what's going on with the array in the data center affected. But it gives us that detail, right? That fidelity to understand what's happening, and as a result, make better decisions. I think of things, all of the things that we potentially could do with this information. Some of this information may be valuable to pull into a CMDB. Some of it may not. It may be better to just view it within Device42. But say we were doing a change that was going to impact that storage array, and we need to make some decisions on, okay, well, now what are we doing with it? Well, in that planning of that change, you now have data where you could go look at, well, what we're finding is the MySQL databases are performing better on this vendor, and we're going to be moving this MySQL database. Maybe we want to make sure it's on one of those vendors' arrays. This is all part of that planning process. So it goes to that incident and change and problem management, the things we're all dealing with every day, and being able to identify things more quickly and take better actions and make better decisions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. One of the many wonderful little hidden, not really hidden gems, but one of the many gems that are part of the Device42 platform. So Jesse, thank you for sharing that with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Great. And everyone, we'd love to share Device42 with you as well. Maybe even do a POC. We're out here to be able to do that as well. And we'll pull great folks like Jesse in to help you show and get the power out of Device42. We'll see you again on the flip side. Thanks again, Jesse. We'll talk soon.